Hey, dude. Happy Halloween. I'm not going to talk about riding mowers or racing or anything like that. Since it's Halloween, I was going to tell you a spooky story. This happened to me. I was around 25. I used to buy and sell antiques with some friends of mine. We would go buy them, clean them up, not really refinish them, but we'd buy them and clean them up, and then we'd resell them at different antique places. And so we had gotten together one weekend. We were going to go to Marion, the town of Marion. Let that truck go by. The town of Marion, Alabama. And there was a guy there who did kind of the same thing we do, but he went up north and bought antiques and brought them back down and lived in this old nasty house, what they had told me. And so I was going for the first time, and they'd already gone a couple of times to buy from him. So we rented a U-Haul for the weekend, and we were driving down to Marion, and drove, which is, I'm kind of in central Alabama, so it was about an hour for me. And we finally got there, and he lived down this nasty little road, kind of boggy, swampy area on either side of it, and you drive down the road until it gets to the old house, not an antebellum house, just an old farmhouse, and then barn and some metal buildings in the back of the property. And they had let me out as we were pulled up in front of the property, and they said, hop out and go to the front door. And I said, okay, and tell Larry, that was the guy we were supposed to meet, that we're here. We're going to pull around to the back and open up the U-Haul, and we'll meet him around there and pick up the stuff we'd talked about. I said, sure, no problem. So I hopped out, and Tommy and Ed, with the two other guys I was with, they had pulled on around. You had to kind of walk up through the old overgrown yard a little bit, and walked up, got on the porch, and the screen door was locked, but the front door was open, and it was kind of cool, a little bit warmer than it is today. Today's like in the 50s here, but it was cool. And so I went up to the door and went to open it, and it was locked. Now it wasn't where he lived. This was a business, so it was kind of odd. So I went to open it and jiggled it, and I couldn't get it. And so I turned to look around, and I turned back, and there was an older lady standing there in kind of one of those house dresses that old ladies used to wear. And I said, hey, I'm here with Ed and Tommy, and we're here to pick up some furniture, and we wanted to look at some more stuff. They've already pulled the U-Haul around back. They told me to tell Larry so he could come out and open up the buildings. And she said, well, he's not feeling good right now. He's laying down. And I thought, okay, well, he knew we were coming. This was before internet or anything like that, but we'd called, and he said it was fine to come down. And I said, okay. And you could kind of look at her and tell she, it wasn't quite right. It was kind of a vacant thing. And I said, okay. I said, well, could I come in and I'll walk through? And she said, well, the door won't open. You can't get it open. And I said, okay. And so, at that point I'm thinking, what the hell? So I walk around to the back of the property, and there was Tommy and Ed talking with Larry. And I went up and I said, hey Larry, I introduced myself. I said, I'm Darren, nice to meet you. And we talked for a minute. I said, I'm sorry I disturbed your mother. I figured it was his mother. I said, I'm sorry I disturbed your mother. I think I woke her up, got her up out of bed or something like that. And he looked at me and said, what are you talking about? I said, well, I'm sorry I disturbed your mother. I was trying to get the door open to walk through the house and tell you we were here, but I couldn't get the door open, and I guess she heard the rattling and got up. And he said, I live here by myself. And I said, quit shitting me. And he said, no. And the other two guys, Ed and Tommy, were standing there kind of laughing because I think it had happened before. And I said, no. I mean, I really. He said, no. I said, come on in the house. And so he took me through the house, and we went through the house and looked and everything. And I said, I don't know what to tell you, Larry. I said, there was an old lady there at the front door wearing her house dress, and she said you were laying down, you weren't feeling good in the back. And he said when he had bought the property years ago, there was a lady that lived there with her son, and her son was getting married. And to keep her son from getting married and moving away and leaving her, she poisoned him slowly and killed him, and he died in the back bedroom. And then she went down into the basement and she hung herself from one of the, I don't know, rafter or something like that. So, that being said, it's not a made-up story. It actually is true. It happened to me. And I went down to that property 3 other times and bought furniture from him. But I guarantee you I never went in that basement. Happy Halloween, guys.